In this video, I'm going to summarize the most important information for the front lever. I'm about to cover the key technique points for a strong and aesthetic front lever. Now, whether you're doing the easiest progression or the hardest progression, you need to keep these cues in mind during your set. This is one of the most important cues to apply from day one, having straight arms. The front lever is a straight arm exercise. Keep those elbows locked straight by co-contracting the biceps and the triceps to keep those elbows extended. To create a strong and stable base, we need to actively retract and depress our shoulders, aka the scapula. During a front lever, the mental cue of pulling the bar down towards your waist is going to be really helpful for encouraging that depression to fully activate the mid-back muscles, the rotator cuff, as well as the other prime movers involved in the exercise. A common misconception or myth when it comes to front levers is if you're not in full retraction and depression, your front lever is ugly, your form is off, and you're doing it wrong. I'd argue, based on over a decade worth of experience, research, experimentation on myself, as well as many students and clients, this is not the case. It's almost impossible to maintain full retraction and depression if you're someone that's doing the hardest front lever, if you're someone who's taller and heavier. It's just not going to happen. With that being said, it's the intention to go into retraction and depression which counts most. This way, you're going to activate those muscles responsible for getting you into the front lever. You'll be able to hold the position, you'll be strong in the position. Just because it doesn't look like you're in retraction and depression doesn't mean that you're not actively trying to do it. That's the most important thing. So in your front lever, when you're pulling the bar down towards your waist, you're keeping your arms straight and you're also thinking of squeezing your shoulders down and back at the same time. The intention, the mindset of doing that, putting those cues into practice and intending to do them is what matters most. It doesn't matter if you're not in full retraction or depression. It might be impossible. Maybe there's a few people that can do it, but for 99% of people doing the front lever, they're not going to get to that point. Doesn't mean they're not doing a front lever, so don't stress about that. With the lever progressions where the legs are together, create a ton of leg tension by squeezing the knees inward, pressing them hard together. On straddle-based movements, spread the knees as far apart as you can. I know it's uncomfortable to straddle wide, but it definitely helps create a strong front lever. The last thing I want to mention is pointing the toes. This isn't just about making the lever look nice, it's about getting more lower body tension. When you point the toes, when you actively plantar flex the ankles, you're going to get that quad involvement and it's going to radiate tension up your body. So if you've got a tight core, you've got a tight upper body, and you're adding those cues of lower body tension, it's going to create that full tension into the front lever and you're going to have a strong, comfortable lever position. But I always find it helpful to show the reverse in a really obvious way, so this way we know what not to do. Bending the elbows even slightly isn't going to strengthen the lever in the way that we want. Unlocking the arms is a sign that the exercise is too hard and that you need to take a step back and choose a progression or hold time or band setup that makes it possible to keep the arms locked straight. When doing static or dynamic front lever based exercises, having straight arms is a non-negotiable. You've got to keep them straight. The following examples show an incorrect hip position while the person is still keeping core tension. As you can see, the hips are too high relative to the shoulders. Next up, the hip position is too low relative to the shoulders. As you remember me explaining earlier in the video, you need to have the hips and shoulders in alignment for a textbook front lever position. This next example is less common, but it still does happen. It's an excessive arch in the lower back. This shows that the person doesn't know how to create a posterior pelvic tilt, get a tight anterior core. Not as nice aesthetically, it's less efficient to hold, and you're not going to be as strong in this position. If you're relaxed in the trunk, the lever isn't going to feel as solid and it's going to result in sloppy form and reduced hold times. Another major overlooked area when it comes to the front lever is how to breathe. Shallow but aggressive breathing is going to be great for increasing what's called intra-abdominal pressure, and this is going to create a really rigid lever shape. I don't recommend holding your breath during the lever unless you're doing a maximal hold, which is only for a few seconds, but even then it's useful to learn how to breathe because our goal shouldn't be to just do the lever for a couple of seconds. We want to become a pro at the movement, which means we want to hold the exercise for 5, 6, 7, 8+ seconds, and beyond that point, breathing is the best option. Do you want to master calisthenics? Shop fitnessfaqs.com to become a bodyweight beast. Let's have a chat about the different entry methods for the front lever. Let's begin with my recommended approach, the tuck to extend. For this one, you'll lift up into a tucked front lever. From here, extend out into the progression that you're training. I like this setup because by starting in the most basic position, the body alignment is more likely to be correct from the start to the end of the set. Next up is the eccentric. You're going to lower from an inverted hang to a front lever progression of your choice. This one is definitely harder than the tuck to extend because there's a longer period of time before you actually enter the front lever you're training. What I like about this one is we're strengthening the top range of motion every time we lower into our static position. The good thing about this is you're going to get stronger on other front lever exercises as a byproduct of your effort. So you're going to get stronger at your front lever pull if you enter your statics in this more difficult way. The most challenging way of getting into the front lever is definitely the pull. You're going to start in a hang, set your body position into the progression that you're training, and then pull up using brute force and hold the static. This one takes a ton of effort and is the most difficult because we're concentrically pulling up in the hard progression that we're training into the static position. So concentric is always more demanding than eccentric. So you can see how we've got different difficulty methods, less time under tension with the tuck to extend, and eccentric harder, we're going through range, and the concentric is even harder because we're pulling up against gravity to hit that front lever. In terms of which method you should use, for most people, especially beginners, I recommend just sticking with the standard tuck to extend. This is the best way for just getting into the front lever static, preserving your energy for where it counts, which is just holding that front lever position. Later on, you can experiment with the other techniques and methods, but for most people watching, keep it simple, tuck to extend. I personally prefer a thumbs under technique because I feel more powerful, strong, and connected using this method because I can place the thumb in contact with my fingers, getting a really nice closed grip on the bar or on the rings, and I feel this translates to better force output into my lever training. However, on the other hand, some people feel more comfortable with a thumbs over technique. They often say that they feel like they can put more downward force as they're doing their front lever, and it's a method you're going to have to try both types of techniques to see which one suits you most. The other option that you've got when you're doing your front levers is a false grip. With this technique, you're going to take an overgrip. Now to do this, you want to place the meaty pinky side of your wrist over the rings or over the bar. It is a really awkward position, especially when you're first starting, but trust me, once you do it again and again, with increased practice, it'll be comfortable and it won't be painful and it'll feel nice and solid. It actually takes less muscular effort to hold the front lever if you've got a strong false grip. The reason for this is when you do it on the rings or on the bar, you're actually decreasing the distance from your wrist to your torso. So it's decreasing the lever arm of the front lever. This means that you're going to be able to hold the exercise for longer or use a harder progression, only if you're comfortable and strong with the false grip. You're probably thinking, which one should I use in my front lever training? Like I said before, choose the one that is most comfortable for you, the one that you feel the greatest connection with during the front lever, whether that's the thumbs under, thumbs over, or if you're someone that is looking to improve your false grip, maybe externally in your practice, you want to improve ring muscle ups, or you just want to be able to do front levers in a false grip, then start using that false grip in your practice. It's not black and white, you can mix and change, experiment, but ultimately at the end of the day, you're still training the front lever, you're still getting a strong front lever. It's just up to you to choose. I'm not going to give you black and white ways of doing things. I want it to be up to you, and I want you to have the most fun with your training.